The Philippines has long recognized the urgent need to modernize its naval capabilities, especially in the face of rising tensions in the West Philippine Sea. Reports emerging in defense circles suggest that Manila is considering a potential deal to acquire 5 Freedom-class Littoral Combat Ships, LCS, from the United States. This move, if finalized, would represent one of the most significant naval modernization efforts in the history of the Philippine Navy. The Freedom-class LCS, known for their speed, versatility, and adaptability in littoral and coastal operations, could provide the Philippines with a game-changing edge in its maritime defense posture. The Freedom-class LCS was designed by the U.S. Navy to operate close to shorelines while still maintaining blue water capabilities. Their primary role includes anti-surface warfare, mine countermeasures, and anti-submarine warfare, all of which align with the Philippines' pressing defense needs. With the South China Sea dispute intensifying, the Philippines requires modern platforms that can conduct flexible missions ranging from territorial defense to maritime security and patrols. These vessels, with a displacement of around 3,500 tons and speeds exceeding 40 knots, offer both mobility and adaptability, key traits that could serve the archipelagic nation well. For the Philippines, the acquisition of 5 Freedom-class LCSs would not merely be about upgrading naval hardware. It would symbolize a deeper strategic shift in its defense posture. Historically, the Philippine Navy has relied heavily on aging World War II-era vessels and second-hand ships transferred from allies. While recent modernization programs have brought in modern frigates like the Jose Rizal class from South Korea, the fleet remains limited in both number and advanced capabilities. By procuring the Freedom class, the Philippines would signal its intent to build a navy that is not only capable of patrolling its territorial waters but also able to deter aggression from larger powers. Critics, however, point to the controversies surrounding the U.S. Navy's Littoral Combat Ship program itself. The LCS fleet has faced criticism for being expensive to maintain, prone to mechanical failures, and lacking in survivability during high-intensity combat. The U.S. Navy itself has begun phasing out some of its LCSs earlier than expected, questioning their long-term value. If the Philippines proceeds with this deal, it must carefully assess whether the Freedom-class vessels offered are modernized and upgraded variants, or older hulls that may require costly maintenance. The issue of life cycle costs, maintenance facilities, and logistical support will be central in determining whether this acquisition strengthens the Philippine Navy or becomes a financial burden. On the other hand, proponents argue that the Philippines is not seeking to match China or other regional powers ship for ship. Instead, it needs ships capable of enhancing patrol presence, asserting sovereignty, and carrying out rapid response missions in contested waters. From this perspective, the Freedom-class LCS, equipped with modern sensors, mission modules, and the ability to deploy helicopters or unmanned aerial vehicles, represents a significant leap forward compared to the current assets of the Philippine Navy. Even with their limitations, these ships would give Manila options it currently does not possess. The potential deal also carries strong geopolitical implications. U.S. support for Philippine naval modernization underscores Washington's broader strategy of strengthening alliances in the Indo-Pacific to counterbalance China. By transferring Freedom-class LCSs to Manila, the United States would not only provide a vital capability boost but also deepen defense cooperation under the framework of the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, EDCA. For the Philippines, the move would represent both a practical military upgrade and a diplomatic signal of alignment with the U.S. in the face of regional challenges. Training, basing, and integration will be crucial considerations if this acquisition proceeds. The Freedom-class LCSs require highly trained crews capable of operating advanced systems, and the Philippines will need to ensure sufficient resources for training, simulation, and joint exercises with the U.S. Navy. Moreover, proper maintenance facilities and supply chains must be established within the Philippines to sustain such a fleet. Without a strong logistical backbone, the operational availability of these ships could be severely limited. Manila will also need to consider where to base these vessels, with Subic Bay and Cavite being potential candidates given their infrastructure and proximity to contested areas. Economically, the acquisition of 5 advanced warships represents a significant financial commitment. The Philippines must balance defense modernization with other national priorities such as infrastructure development, disaster response, and social programs. Yet, the growing assertiveness of China in the West Philippine Sea and repeated incursions by maritime militias and Coast Guard vessels have put increasing pressure on the Philippine government to strengthen its military. Public opinion has also shifted toward greater support for investments in defense, especially when national sovereignty is at stake. From an operational standpoint, the Freedom-class LCS would allow the Philippine Navy to conduct diverse missions. Their modular design enables them to switch between roles such as anti-submarine warfare and surface combat. They can embark helicopters like the MH-60 Seahawk, enhancing surveillance and strike capabilities. With their high speed, they can quickly respond to incidents across the archipelago, from piracy and smuggling interdiction to search and rescue and disaster relief. In peacetime, they would project Philippine presence in contested waters, reinforcing sovereignty claims. In times of crisis, they could serve as frontline assets in maritime defense. However, Manila must remain realistic about what these ships can and cannot do. The Freedom-class LCS is not a heavily armed warship compared to larger frigates or destroyers. Its limited armament means it is best suited for patrol, deterrence, and low to medium intensity missions rather than full-scale naval warfare. Thus, the Philippines must see these vessels as part of a broader naval modernization effort that includes frigates, submarines, missile systems, and coastal defense batteries. The LCS acquisition could serve as an important bridge capability while the Navy continues to pursue more balanced and survivable platforms in the future. Ultimately, the potential deal to acquire 5 Freedom-class littoral combat ships represents both opportunity and risk for the Philippines. It offers a path toward rapidly expanding naval capabilities and demonstrating resolve in defending maritime interests. At the same time, it raises questions about cost-effectiveness, sustainability, and long-term strategy. For Manila, the decision will require careful balancing of military necessity, financial realities, and geopolitical considerations. What is clear, however, is that the Philippines cannot afford to delay its naval modernization any longer. In an era where maritime disputes and gray zone tactics increasingly define security in the region, acquiring capable and versatile ships like the Freedom class could help ensure that the Philippine Navy is not left behind.